What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got more Spider-Man. This time with the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 61. Now, I had checked out from the Amazing Spider-Man series written by Zeb Wells, but his run on this series has ended, and writer Joe Kelly is now taking over. So I figured let's jump back in and see what he's got. And this issue also begins the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. And if you guys missed any of the videos I've done during the Zeb Wells' run, then I'll put up a link at the top of the screen and a card at the end of the video as well. But in this issue, we get to see more of Sorcerer Supreme Victor Von Doom before One World Under Doom begins as he levels up Spider-Man for this latest mission. So if you guys are ready to find out how it is that Doom helps level up Spider-Man, which is much needed since Miles Morales is leveled up so much, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So we kick this issue off with Spidey as he's saving one guy while battling another named Burnout. And of course, as he's saving this guy while they're falling from a building, he's also quipping about how bad a name Burnout is, telling him that he's named after someone who's given up, even though he's just beginning. And all of this while all of Peter Parker's belongings are just falling out of a bag that Spidey tries to get the other guy that he's rescuing to try and catch before it's all lost. And as he rescues the guy while fighting the other, he thinks to himself about how exhausted he is with this, and everything hurts all the time. Mostly because guys like Burnout shoot him point blank in the chest with home-brewed napalm. But he keeps on going regardless, and even tries non-punching interests with friends, and even dating the best he can. And of course, there's Unman being there for her. Keeping it all together is hard, he thinks, as he tries to punch Burnout only before he turns into a flock of flaming birds. But that's when things get even more interesting, as Spider-Man is then visited by the Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Doom, just as the Burnout flock of birds fly away, prompting Spider-Man to send the other guy that he had just saved off to safety before addressing Doom, who tells Spidey that he rarely garners Doom's attention. But now that he has, disappointing is an understatement. But the reason for his arrival is that he's chosen Spider-Man for a matter of great importance. A task for which Spidey is uniquely suited, he claims. And a task that Spider-Man must prevail in. And for a moment, Spider-Man is stunned and silent, causing Doom to assume that he's understanding the gravity of the situation. But then Spidey finally speaks up and responds that he was just trying to come up with an eloquent way to tell Doom to shove it. And then he calls Doom a Timu Doctor Strange knockoff. Don't do Timu like that. Which of course pisses off Doom, who responds that the Covenant shall be broken then, before he leaves, leaving Spider-Man confused before he once again goes on the chase for the Burnout birds. But later on, after all of that, as Peter tries to come up with an excuse for losing part of Aunt May's feast money that was lost during that whole Burnout intro, Aunt May gives him a hard time for his whack excuses. But Peter promises May that he'll pay the money back, although Aunt May knows that just means he'll pay it back by borrowing it from her, and she just wonders when he'll get his life together. But then Peter's friends show up and remind Peter of how flaky and undependable of a friend he can be, leading Peter to have to step away from this conversation and up onto the roof as Spider-Man. And while he's up there, he shows obvious frustration over being both Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and even wonders about the Covenant that Dr. Doom mentioned. But we then see that he's not alone on the roof, as Spider-Boy is revealed to be up there with him as a sounding board. But when Spider-Man looks to Spider-Boy for answers to his existential crisis, Spider-Boy has no answers for him since he's only 10 years old. But in the middle of their talk, there's an explosion that goes off in the distance, prompting Spider-Man to jump into action while making Spider-Boy hang back, since this might be too dangerous for him. And then we see that the explosion was caused by a huge hulking creature named Centros, who claims that per his father's will, he declares the contest to begin as he searches for Earth's champion. But he's met by a web to the face and Spider-Man, who declares that Earth's champion called in sick. But Earth's punching bag is happy to help. But when Spidey swings in to land a kick on the monster, it doesn't faze him at all, as Spidey acknowledges Centros' armored skin. And Centros just brushes Spidey off and tells him that the Covenant has begun and he's looking to face off against Earth's champion. And as Spider-Man realizes that this guy is manipulating gravity, he remembers what Dr. Doom mentioned about the Covenant being broken, just before Centros blasts Spidey through some buildings. And while Spidey's down, Dr. Doom reveals himself to Spidey once more, offering to give him aid before Spidey causes innocents to fall victim, to which Spider-Man finally accepts, as Doom then gives Spider-Man the history on the Covenant, that from the Darkhold Chronicles Age of Strange, the young Sorcerer Supreme explored the lengths and depths of his magnificence, and he quickly discovered the limits of his human power. So in order to guard the Earth from the countless threats of the immaterial cosmos, he would require aid, and bargains would be struck. And although Doom would never have required such unreliable and inefficient systems, we play the hands we're dealt. And while studying the eldritch histories of the Darkhold, Strange discovered the unassailable Crimson Casket of Sidorak, ample protection for the Earth, for this dimension. However, the Crimson God Sidorak is generally immovable in body and mind, as is well known. So Strange, nothing if not clever, entered into a parlay with the god in order to sway him toward a pact, and eventually a covenant was forged. But Strange quickly learned that cleverness and intelligence are not the same. So in exchange for erecting the casket and protecting Earthrealm, Strange had to commit to besting the 8 scions of Sidorak, the restless, spoiled, terrible godlings eager to prove themselves worthy of their father's throne. Strange thought it a fair bargain, because he believed he found a loophole in their cosmic contract. There is one rivalry that precedes the Allbirth, Sidorak and Ragador. So Strange armed himself with the sacred reeds of Ragador, which all but assured that should he fall at the hands of the Crimson Scions, he would be reborn and thusly never lose. The Covenant demands that at the top of the Crimson calendar, Earth put forward a champion to battle the Scions for Sidorak's amusement. And the contests were taxing to say the least. But Strange, ever the martyr, chose to face the Scions himself. His inefficiencies also know no bounds, according to Doom. Yet he prevailed. Every time the Covenant was invoked, Strange answered and paid the mighty toll to maintain the casket. Every time. There is little Doom admires about Stephen Strange, but his tenacity cannot go unrecognized. But Doom's time is far more valuable. Thus, the need has arisen for a different champion, someone clever and tenacious who is willing to put the needs of others above their own, someone familiar with pain. So as Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, Doom declares Spider-Man Earth's new champion in the Covenant of Sidorak. And as he gifts Spider-Man with a magical new suit, he tells Spidey that he will face the Scions of Sidorak as Doom's bannerman. And this new arcane armor will give Spidey access to the mystic arts and protect his physical form, in aid of the life-restoring reeds of Ragador. And what's cool about this new suit is that it automatically allows Spider-Man to know the magical phrases he needs. And now, blessed with a new upgrade, Spider-Man jumps back into this fight with Centros. And then he notices the source of Centros' power, a black heart hole. And thanks to Spidey's new suit, he knows that the luminescence of limitless Langolan can not only fill a black heart hole, it can also overload and destroy it. So as Spidey goes for the attack, he thinks to himself that normally he wouldn't be so cavalier about hurtling himself into the mouth of an extra-dimensional godling. But he knows in his gut that the reeds will protect him. And as he hits his move, he wins the fight, but he too suffers from it. Cause of death? Spaghettification. His body is stretched and compressed as it's pulled into the gravity well of a black hole, as he thinks that the time between the first rending of toe flesh and the last compression of scalp atoms only take picoseconds. But for the deceased, the process feels like it takes 96 hours thanks to space-time distortion. And when he dies, he's actually met with a familiar face, as Phil Coulson appears. And if you guys saw my video on the Infinity Watch, you know that Coulson is now essentially death. And as the new embodiment of death, His job is to guide the deceased safely into the afterlife. But when Coulson finally notices that it's Spider-Man before him, he's immediately apologetic to see him here, until he notices that Spidey has the reeds, causing him to apologize again and tells Spidey to stay strong. And then later on in his room, as we see Peter Parker's body being kind of re-stitched back together, he thinks to himself that this moment comes back to him and he relives his rebirth all over again. Because in the moment, it hurt too much to even think. He died, body torn and broken and rent on an atomic level. The reeds of Ragador reversed the natural order and forced his atoms to reform and his muscles to re-knit. Nothing in magic comes without cost. And the cost of defying the very foundation of mortal existence is pain. Inconceivable pain. And as he suffers the pain of being re-knit back together, he's visited by the astral form of Stephen Strange, who tells Spidey that the good news is he's alive and in perfect health. But the bad news is he's gonna have to fight and defeat the rest of the scions of Sidorak, likely dying in the process and rebirthing 7 more times. And if he doesn't, then the Earth falls. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about the issue and the start of writer Joe Kelly's run on the series? I, for one, definitely love the new suit. I hope that becomes a PS5 Spider-Man 2 suit along with Miles' new suit as well. Plus, I really like the new artwork as well. And with every scene we get with Doom, I get more and more amped up for One World Under Doom. But you guys know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories down in the comments. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by stopping by the Comics Icons store and picking up some Comics Icons merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video available for download, or by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll get loyalty badges, member shoutouts, and up to 20% off of Comics Icons merchandise from the Comics Icons store. And even a chance to pick a video of your own choosing for me to post. Plus, we've got tiers to the memberships as well, beginning at just 99 cents. Or you guys can donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of that, then you can still help out this channel's future tremendously by dropping a like, share, and subscribe in the Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.